a special Mike and Rob Presents, and we got a very special guest, a person that you might know, and you won't know why you know him, but you see him everywhere. All right, music, TV, Broadway, soap opera. The man is he got the 1,000 faces.
Fantastic career.
Faces.
Fantastic career. That's Mr. Jack Davidson. Welcome.
Hey, nice to meet you all.
Yes. Welcome to the RockerMike and Rob Presents show. Jack, I got to tell everybody how we met. Okay, just before we get into your amazing career and everything like that.
I also want to talk to him. He was a Marine.
Yes, he was. We're going to get into all that. But what cracks me up is, you know, I work for Verizon and I go to a lot of people's houses.
Right.
And when I came in here, this is your lovely apartment. I looked around and I said, I recognize this man. Okay, and you know, I knew you were an actor. I could tell from what you had around. And I'm like, where do I know him from? Downey River. Excuse me, not Downey.
That's a great commercial.
Yes, it is. And your Papa. And that's amazing. I see that commercial every time and I crack up.
Well,
it's funny.
I cannot tell you what it means to me. I mean, you know, I'm in my 80s, and that is a job that is paying off more than any job I've ever had.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Who would think a little product like Downey would?
But you know what it is? That commercials are like a lot.
I see it on regular TV and streaming stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's everywhere.
I see it on my Fire Stick and everything.
I'm waiting for a check to come in today. They always send it on Friday.
But you know, you've been around for quite a few years. You know, you've done stage, you've done some film, but it's kind of interesting because you didn't start out with the idea of being an actor. It kind of fell onto you, right?
I'm an accidental actor. What happened? Well, let's see. Where do we begin? What happened is my mom and my father had me when they were in high school.
Oh.
She was 17 when she had me, and my father was 19. And I said, "Why didn't you have an abortion?" And they said they never even thought about it in those days. It's that my grandfather heard about this, and he said, "You get married tomorrow."
That was the way he used to do it.
That's the way it was. Shotgun wedding.
Shotgun wedding.
And that was that caused a lot of angst to people. Not my mom; she really loved me, and my father was always a problem for me because this was not how he wanted to spend his life.
Did he kind of resent it, sort of a little bit?
Well, it was an accident for him.
Yeah.
And he was a very ambitious guy, and and his ambition continued on because he went in the Air Force, and then he got the GI Bill, and he went to junior college after he had finished high school, but then he got into Harvard master's degree program for business administration.
Wow.
And he was getting his master's degree at Harvard when I was being kicked out of high school for the 10th time. And
wow.
Do you get that from your mother?
I just got it from being completely rebellious.
Oh, sure. I can see how that can happen.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
where are you from?
I'm from Worcester, Mass.
Ooh, Worcester, Massachusetts.
And for instance, peg pants were very in at that time.
Right.
If you were like a
rebellious kind of kid.
Right. So my father would find my peg pants and burn them in my yard because he didn't like me wearing them.
Sure. That was a sign of juvenile.
Then I started to hide them under the porch.
Oh,
I would go out in dungarees and then go under the porch, put the peg pants on. And I had a lot of identities then. I wore chinos when I was hanging around with the frat boys. And then I wore peg pants when I was going with whatever they called the other kind of guys. And then I got into classical high school, which was where the smart kids went.
Yeah.
Right.
And my father came in to see the dean of the school that I was going to, North High. And he was my father's principal at classical high.
Wow.
And he said, Stanley, that was my father's name and my name, but he said, I don't know what's wrong with Jackie. He just doesn't get it. He's a bright boy, but he doesn't get it. And my father was getting his master's at Harvard, and I was getting thrown out of high school. I got into classical, and I was sitting in Spanish class for the third time, and I just didn't understand a word of what was going on. And so I just raised my hand and I said to the teacher, I said, can I go see the principal? And she said, yeah, go ahead. And I went to see the principal and I said, you know, I went to North High, I couldn't do the work, and I'm sitting in Spanish class here for the third time and I'm not getting it. Maybe I should quit school. And the principal said, oh yes, maybe you should.
He agreed.
He agreed. So I couldn't quit school and then go home and see this man. And so I said, what I'll do is I'll quit school and join the Marines.
Wow.
And so,
Was there a reason for the Marines as opposed to the Navy?
well,
Army,
it was
Air
a
Force?
tougher thing. I thought that would impress him.
Yeah, it is
Right.
tough. Yeah.
Tough boot camp. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did. And on the way down to join the Marines, I ran into friends of mine and I talked them into joining with me. And we joined the Worcester Platoon, and it was the United States Marine Corps Reserve, and we went in for 2 years. And I came home, I told my father that I had joined the Marines, and he says, well, maybe they'll make a man of you. And
That's what he said.
yeah. And then we went to Paris Island, which was
Tough.
Nightmare.
it was amazing. And there, while I was there, they said, you're a reservist? You're a USMC reservist? And I said, well, I joined the Worcester Platoon, which is a reserve outfit. And they said, you're not a Marine, you're a reservist. Ship over to become a regular Marine. And people who were a little more educated than I was, because I didn't have that, I only finished a year of high school.
Yeah.
They said, we don't want to. And I said, I'll do it. And so the next thing I know, I'm a USMC, and I'm in for 3 years as opposed to 2 years. And that Marine Corps thing is a whole other story, because we're reaching for the accidental actor. And I passed the GED test in the Marines, and they accepted me in Worcester Junior College without a high school diploma.
Yeah, but GED is like a high school diploma. It's like you did all the work.
It is, but it didn't turn out that way.
Ooh.
Because when I went to apply to a 4-year college, University of Massachusetts, they wouldn't take me in unless I had a high school diploma.
Oh, wow.
They didn't accept the GED.
No. So I had to
Strange.
go back to North High, where I'd been thrown out of.
Yeah.
And
You're already a little
I
bit
was
older.
now 21 or 22. Wow. I was in classes with kids I used to take care of. And I graduated from there. And
And went to Boston College. Right? Boston University.
Then I went to UMass.
Yeah, UMass.
And while I was at UMass, I had a girlfriend there. And when I was in high school, she invited me home to meet her parents. And she was a senior at UMass, and I was a high school student. And so I'm sitting at the table, and the father says to me, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm in high school." He said, "You're in high school?" And I said, "Yeah." And so she said, "Well, Jim." And I said, "No, Jack. My name is Jack." And he says, "Yes, well, Ellie brings so many people home. I forget their names." So the next thing, she broke up with me, and I went to UMass, and she was there, and I just set out to stop me if you heard this.
No, not at all. This is good. This is getting good.
I just said I was just going to impress the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And so I played for the tennis team, and then I got a disc jockey show there. This is JD, your DJ, spinning them up for you with WMUA.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was like the college radio,
College
right?
radio station.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I was elected the president of the Honor Society. And it was like, wow, I am something.
That's great.
And the next thing I know, someone came up to me and said, "Hey, Jack, we have a theater division, and we're doing a play, and an actor has dropped out." And I had never even seen a play or ever even thought about being in a play. And they said, "You would be perfect for this part if you would do it. It's an Irish drunk." An Irish drunk in an Arthur Miller play called Memory of Two Mondays.
Oh, Memory of Two Mondays.
And I said, "Well, I'll try." And we rehearsed, and I didn't know what I was doing, but they keep talking about my part. If he comes in drunk again, he's going to be fired completely. And so I had this entrance where I came across the stage, and I'm shuffling to my desk in my seat, and I got to my desk, and someone pushed a chair under me, and I sat in the chair, and the audience burst into applause, and I went, "Oh my God, this is something.
Yeah.
This is like..."
You gotta get adrenaline. You gotta
Yeah,
you
what's
gotta
going
rush
on?
it.
You
You
gotta
gotta
rush.
rush
It was like,
Yeah.
I had never had a response like that. And so I flunked out of UMass.
Wow.
I forgot that you were supposed to study. And I was majoring in sociology, which I thought was the big picture of psychology. And that was something that interested me. And then I went to Boston, and I got a job in the Husky Boy shop at Jordan Marsh. And I had another girlfriend who was in college there. And she said, "Well, what are you going to do? You're going to be a salesman in the Jordan Marsh Husky Boy shop?" I said, "Well, maybe I could be a comedian." And so...
But you still weren't thinking of acting. You had that one experience,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
loved it, but you still weren't thinking of doing that full time.
No,
Wow.
it was not I didn't know even people did it.
Yeah.
But they did. You could see them in the movies, but not anyone I knew.
Right.
So she said, "Well, they have a theater department here, and I can get you an interview with the head of the dean of the theater department." And I said, "Okay." And so I went over and I saw this guy named Fran Sidlaskis. And he said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Well, I was thinking about being a comedian." he said, yeah. And I said, so my girlfriend got me an interview with you. He says, this is a theater school. This is a place for people who want to be professional actors. I said, well, I never thought of that. And he says, then it's the wrong place for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't teach comedy. We just teach people who want to be professional actors. And so he said, you're a little old to be coming in here and saying you want to be a comedian. Where were you before this? And I says, oh, I was at UMass. And he says, well, why didn't you stay there? And I said, I flunked out. He said, you flunked out of college? And you're coming here and telling me that you want to be a comedian? He said, you are funny. Because we don't take people who flunk out of other colleges
into that class, yeah.
He said, why are you so old? I said, I was in the Marines. Boom. He said, you're a former Marine? And I said, yeah. And he said, then I got to do something for you. He was a Marine.
He was a Marine.
Oh, wow.
Semper Fi.
Honest to God, he just said, look, I'm going to take a chance on you because you wouldn't know how to audition to be in this school. I'm going to let you in on the basis of you having served in the Marines. And that's how I became an accidental actor.
Wow,
That's
that's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's all about being in the right place at the right time, right? And
completely,
and, yeah,
almost all, it was like angels.
like set it up for you.
Yeah, or fate, or luck.
Now, you know, you worked on the stage, and you've met some and worked with some amazing people. One particular, I'd love to, if you could tell me a story or two, would be Helen Hayes. I mean, First Lady of American Theater, right?
Right. She was the First Lady of American Theater, and I did my first tour with Helen Hayes in a play called The Circle by Somerset Maugham.
Okay.
And I was the juvenile lead. And Helen Hayes, we all was rehearsing in a room in the village, in a studio in the village, and we're all waiting to meet the First Lady, and the door opens, and we're sitting there, and then she closed the door, and then we all jumped to our feet, and then she came in. And we started to rehearse. We did a reading, and we went of the play. And at the end of the reading, she said, Jack, is your Irish accent better than your educated British?
This is a British play, right? So
Yes,
everybody has British.
It
Okay.
is. I said, it could be. And she said, well, let's try Teddy Luton as an Irishman, which is completely wrong.
That's against the whole plot of the play, but okay.
And so then I went into my Irish accent at the time, you know. And then the director during the rehearsals, Jack Manning, who directed me in Boston University, he was a visiting director. And he gave me my first job, and he ran the Helen Hayes Repertory Company.
Wow.
And he kept telling me, this, you know, Teddy, I get these characters mixed up. Yeah, Teddy Luton, he's a hands in the pocket kind of guy, you know?
What's his hand in his pocket?
Yeah. I have pictures of him there. I'll show you.
Okay.
Can I get it?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure. Get it. Yeah.
Because sing.
Oh, wow.
That's Helen Hayes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
me.
hands in pockets.
That's the hands in pocket kind of guy.
Right there.
Hands in pockets.
Hands in pocket.
And so the director is telling me this, that he's a hands in the pocket kind of guy.
Right.
And Helen Hayes is telling me, you know, Teddy Luton is a passionate young man.
Right.
And I go, yeah, I know that. And so we went to maybe, I'm trying to think, Louisville or somewhere, and we had a performance for the people who supported the theater there. And it was a full matinee house.
Wow.
And so I was the juvenile lead who was in love with a married girl in the play. And I have this scene there where I persuade her to leave her husband and come away with me.
Right.
So I went up to her, put my hands in my pocket, and I say, Elizabeth, or whatever her name was, Elizabeth, you don't love this guy. You know I did with an Irish accent, of course.
Yeah.
But you don't love this guy. You know, you got to come away with me. And all of a sudden, from behind me, I hear, "Get your hands out of your pockets! Your pockets! Get your..." And she rips my hands out of my pockets. And I stood at a Marine Corps attention, and I went, Jesus. And she says, "How could you put your hands in your pockets? Don't you know how to be a man? Don't you know how passionate this guy is?" And she started playing my part.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you must come away with me. And I'm here just like this. And she said, "Oh, God, I'm on stage. Oh, God." And she realizes she's broken the show, and the audience is going, "Is this part of the show?
Is this part of it? Is this,
And she walks down stage, and she looks at them, and she says, "Please, please, please forgive me. Please forgive me. But my mind snaps when I see bad acting." And I went,
so the putting in the hands in the pocket was something she didn't approve of.
not
It was bad acting to her.
No, it was bad.
Probably a metaphor, hands in the pocket. You know?
Maybe in the way she was trained, that might not. But you felt it was an accurate kind of depiction, right? You felt he was.
No.
No.
I just did it because I heard when I was in college, if the director tells you to stand on your head in the corner and say your lines, you should do it because he is seeing the big picture.
So this is like the scene that you talk about.
Yes.
Before she came out.
Yeah.
Look at that. Hands in the pocket. That's a good looking dude too, man. You probably had to fight the women off, right?
Well, but anyway, that was a terrible moment in my theater life, and luckily it happened early on.
Yeah.
And that night when we were opening for the paying audience, well, the people who we were playing for were the people who paid for the theater. They were at that matinee, but that evening the people who paid to see the play came in, and I'm sitting there, and my opening scene is with her, and I can't even look at her. And she said, "Oh, poor boy, you can't look me in the eyes, can you?" And I said, she said, "You're going to be fine." And I was.
It was.
That's it.
That's
is
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that the only time you really worked with her with that particular play, or was there others?
Well, we were doing other plays too,
Oh, okay.
and there was also a lot of
You
strange
look
things.
like you could have played like a mobster. Have you ever played a mobster in any other of the roles?
A mobster.
You could be
Gangster
like
type?
like a gangster, like a.
You ever do that?
I've played so many things I can't remember them. plus, I'm elderly. You know, I mean, there's so many things buried in these 85 years.
Well, that's why we're doing this podcast. This is all for posterity right here.
But I see like when you did any of those Law and Orders, what were you playing most in those?
I played different things in them. I played a doctor, and I played.
Do you ever play a bartender? Like in?
I played bartenders, yeah.
Rob's a bartender.
Yeah, I'm a bartender.
Yeah. No, I was a bartender.
Oh yeah.
I guess we've all been bartenders.
Yeah. I've still been a bartender. I'm going 26 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I was a bartender down in Cape Cod.
Oh, that must have been nice.
And yeah.
A lot of actors do that.
Yes, but have you ever been in the Horseshoe Bar, 7B Bar? Do you play like a bartender in that? What's the Law and Order about a guy getting killed in front of a bar?
I don't know that I was a bartender in the episodes of Law and Order that I've done.
Yeah,
I can't. I mean, it's hard to remember each one.
Each one, yeah.
But one of them, I was a married guy, and maybe we lost our daughter.
Okay.
And then the other one, I was a doctor. Then I was several other people as well.
It's always funny how they do that. Like they bring the
They
same
bring people
actor for
back.
different roles.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But you have to like wait a year
Before you
Yeah.
come back
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. How did the whole thing with this whole shutdown? How did it affect you?
Well, it's affected actors terribly.
Yeah, a lot.
There's no work. And in fact, one of the commercial I got, my agent in New York, I have a commercial agent as well as a theater agent,
Gotcha.
and they went out of business after I shot this commercial.
That was shot a little bit before the COVID pandemic started, right?
It was just in June, and then it didn't get on the air till November, and it was moving into the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And
2019, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
2019. And they went bankrupt on something, and they were a major agency, and they shut down their commercial office, and the guy who ran that office got with another agent, and when that commercial's time ran out, he renegotiated a new contract that went to the agency he was with now. But plenty of agents have gone bankrupt. Plenty of actors. It's a bad time to even think about being an actor.
There's no, I mean, people aren't even going to movies.
And
It's
exactly.
changed, and now what's happening, and that I find disturbing. I'm a big film buff, and I love to go to the movies to see a movie. Like if something comes out, I don't want to say, I'll wait for it to just stream on.
Well, I don't mind the thing so far because I've seen some great. Like I saw
Yeah.
Frye Macho on.
That was good.
It was good.
That was good.
On HBO
The
Max.
new
I love it.
Clint Eastwood movie, very good.
They got some very good movies that come out that you can go to theater watch.
You could go to the theater or stream it.
I got so much sound in my house that I can make it sound like the movies.
I know, but what's happening is because of that. I mean, going to the movies is going to be a thing of the past.
Absolutely.
Even after the pandemic, people aren't going to do it.
But you know what? That's
And going to stage, they're trying to get Broadway back. Broadway has been dead for a year and a half, and that brings
It's
so
never
many
happened
people to New York.
All the
But
tourists.
you know the problem is we're not letting too many tourists in yet, so that's the problem. What does bring Broadway? It's tourists, people from Europe, people from everywhere come to see a Broadway show on Broadway. That's the mystique. That's like the whole thing.
Completely,
It's
yes.
a reason to come here. Sure.
And now they're trying to revive it, and I'm hopeful they will, but
I think they will. But I think it might take time.
It's just going to
it's gonna
take time.
a
I
lot
agree
of
with that.
time, maybe more than I've got.
No, don't say that.
Don't
Like,
say that.
You know, let me tell you, because I went to Times Square, I went to the Margaritaville, and there was quite a few people out there, and the
Well,
short
there are people
film.
out here too,
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
restaurants and stuff.
Yeah. And the restaurant over there, the problem is you still got the people that are still paranoid and they're not going to go anywhere for another year. It's like zero.
Till they feel that it's all gone.
all gone.
This COVID is this new one. What is it called?
Delta variant.
Delta.
It's getting you even if you're vaccinated,
Yeah.
but not heavily.
Yeah, but it's not a very strong strain. They're just going to get you sick, and for that you pretty much got to quarantine for 3 days.
I know friends of mine have got it,
Yeah.
but they felt really sick.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the guy on CBS, the weatherman, he got it,
Yeah.
and his wife got it.
Today you saw what happened during The View. They took out Sonny and that other lady, the Spanish lady. They took them off the air because they tested positive. Like 20 minutes
on
into the show.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
you two guys got to get off. They didn't say why, but they took them off, and it was revealed that they tested positive. And they're vaccinated, but they tested positive for
Wow.
COVID on the air. And Joy Behar, it's like, I have no idea what's going on.
Now, Whoopi is somebody I've worked.
I know, I was going to ask
Have
you.
you worked
Yeah,
with
he
Whoopi
worked with
Goldberg?
Whoopi.
What was that like?
It was so interesting because she's a sweetheart. I mean,
This was on stage?
yeah,
Yeah.
on Broadway.
Broadway.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom by August
I
Wilson.
remember that.
Yeah.
And we became good friends, and she would have her limo and drove me home, and then she would invite special friends to play cards at her home, and she lived in over towards the east side just below Houston Street or something.
Yeah.
And she had a big apartment there, and it was catered every Wednesday, and celebrities would come, and I felt very included, but I didn't like playing cards because I worked in a mental hospital all through college. I was an activities coordinator. I was a psychiatric aide, and then an activities coordinator. And I didn't like getting stuck at the table with passive-aggressive guys who would know you didn't like it, and they would say, "I want Jack to join us." And yeah, I go, "I don't want to join." And they said, "I'm telling the doctors you don't want to play cards."
Yeah.
And it was McLean Hospital in Belmont, Mass. Very important mental hospital.
Wow.
And so the doctors would come and say, "This is your job to play with them." I said, "It's not my job to keep them sick. They know I don't like it, and they keep asking for me, and I'm not going to do it." And so he called the guy in and said, "He says this is not helping you get well. Your passive aggression, trying to make him do something he doesn't want to do." So I got out of that. How did we get over there?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's pretty funny.
Well, with Whoopi.
Yeah, Whoopi. So you were working with, you would go to her house and play cards, but you didn't like cards.
I didn't play, but I did like drinking, and I liked eating and socializing.
Yeah.
But then one day I said, maybe I should sit down and play cards, because, you know, that's what they're all doing.
Yeah.
So I joined her at the table, and they played some kind of poker.
Was it a 7 card or did they play?
Maybe 7-card, or 7-card or something. And I'm trying to figure the game out, and I got there, and I'm sitting right beside Whoopi, and I'm going like this, and I got my cards, and I tip them down, and I'm looking, and she says, "Jack, keep your hands above the table." I went, "Oh."
She thought you were cheating. Okay. She's serious.
And
That's great.
and I didn't know what. I guess that's how you cheat.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess put it out there for
They might have something under the table. an extra
That's
card.
pretty funny.
But she was great. She's been in this apartment.
Yeah, wow. I also saw she's still doing The View. She still does The
She
View.
signed up for another 4 years.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, she's been on that for quite a while.
Forever, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think now she gets like Fridays off, so she works 4 days and Fridays off.
Oh, is that right?
I think that's her schedule.
Yeah.
Well, she's a good guy.
Another, you also work with Morgan Freeman, I saw. How was that?
Morgan, yes.
No?
Oh, Morgan was great. He's a great guy. Why don't I remember that? I mean, I remember him, and I remember the director of the play teaches in that building, on that door.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Ellie Renfield. And we would go out to eat, and Morgan had been on the kids shows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Electric Company.
Electric
Electric
Company, yeah.
Company.
Yeah.
And now he was doing this off-Broadway play. And he would say, "Oh man, it's over for me." And I would say, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I've already accomplished all I can do." He said, "It's downhill from here." And I said, "No, Morgan, come on, man. You know, you're a terrific actor." And he says, yeah, but I can feel it. It's going to be tough. And I said, well, you know, it's a tough business. And next thing you know, it's not so tough.
Yeah, he took off.
What was it?
Seven, he did Seven.
Driving Miss Daisy.
He did Driving
Right.
Daisy.
He was
Yeah.
great.
Shanghai Redemption, which was
Yeah.
that was a fantastic movie.
And that was all early 90s, right?
Yeah.
Late 80s, early. By then, he was really taking off.
And he still do a few movies, you know. It's not like he's still going strong.
I liked him
you
in
know.
the Batmans.
It's like between him and who's the other guy? Morgan, Samuel Eddie.
No, Samuel L. Jackson.
Jackson. He's
Yeah.
another one that he's
Oh,
in
I've worked with him too.
Oh, you did? Wow. How was it? How was he
Wow.
loud and
Is that-
screaming all the times?
Did he say mother effer?
Like 100 times.
I worked with his wife too. She was
Oh,
an
yeah?
intern when we were doing a tour in Colorado, and that was before they were married.
Wow.
But Samuel Jackson, he like would give you directions, you know. He said, it was a movie we did. Maybe that was the movie. That was the play.
Yeah. There is a movie that I got to ask you about.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's actually two, but the first one I got to ask you about is this strange, bizarre horror movie called Shockwaves that you did in 1977. Okay? Now, I've said it 100 times. I watch all kinds of movies. This is one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. Bunch of guys go to an island, and on the island are Nazi zombies. Okay? Now, what's great about this movie is you think it would be like real schlocky. It is schlocky, but it's got Peter Cushing in it, and it's got John Carradine in it.
Right.
Now, I know they were on the far sides of their careers by that point, 77, but that's still amazing that you made a movie with the two of them.
Right. Well, that movie was. We shot that. First of all, that movie is a classic.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just played here last year.
Really?
And I went to the up at Lincoln Center.
Okay.
It's one of the top horror films.
Yeah.
And
That's a
then,
cult
and
following.
then the other movie, Watermelon Man. That I
Yes.
was-
Yeah.
and we just lost Melvin Van Peebles, who
Oh,
directed
yes.
that.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
a very good friend of mine.
Oh.
I asked him if I could be in that movie, and he said, "Yeah, I could find a part for you somewhere." And then this guy, we lost him.
Oh yeah. Well, you worked with Ed Asner, right? Right.
Yeah.
You were kind of like an understudy. Is
Yeah.
that what that is?
But this
Grace.
was a thing that falling grace, the fall that there was like falling
The
from
falling,
grace.
the A falling there.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I felt that kind of honored him in a way.
Sure.
It's almost like at this performance, the role of Carl, usually played by Ed Asner, will be played by Jack Davidson, and it's like there's the A falling.
It's a little closer so the audience can see it. The A.
But Jack, let me get back to Shockwaves for a second.
Okay, Shockwaves. I was doing a play in Florida, on the Miami, in too many things I've done, too many things are buried. I was doing Equus. Equus. I was doing Equus it was in a major theater in Florida.
Okay.
And then I got cast in Shockwaves. So I was doing Equus, where you were on stage all the time, even when you're not in the scene. And then we were filming Shockwaves during the day, like at 5 a.m., and then to come in and you had to do Equus every night.
Wow.
Exhausting.
Completely exhausting. And we were doing it in the swampy area down there in Florida.
Everglades.
The Everglades.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is swampy too.
Yeah,
Swampy
yeah.
Jacksonville.
But I can see the Everglades. It
Yeah,
looks
the
like it in
Everglades.
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my character, oh God.
Well, your character has some demise that happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's drowned by a Nazi zombie.
Right. Comes out of the water.
I think that's here too.
Where's that from?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
They come from behind.
Yeah.
Driving by Nazi
Oh,
zombies.
there it is. There it is.
Right.
Oh, this is
Okay.
Shockwaves,
Yeah. Okay, so there you.
and then putting the makeup on.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
there's the Nazi zombie waiting.
Right. And then
There he is.
fighting you at the end.
But as somebody, my kid said, Dad, you're not supposed to have seen him.
Right.
And I said, why I don't? And they said, no. When he comes up out of the water, and you go like you're going to be drowned.
You knew you were going to. Surprised you didn't hold your nose.
Right.
This is more Shockwave.
Yeah. Shockwave.
Guys, look at that.
Yeah.
But that film was fun, but I was in Equus at the night, and I would be going like this.
Yeah.
And
Let
the actors,
Uh-huh.
my actor friend or whatever her name was, would go, Jack, look out. And I go, huh?
Did anybody bust your chops about working on that movie or being in that movie? Considering you're doing a play, stage and stuff, and all of a sudden you're doing this other.
No, this Equus was a major hit.
Yeah.
It really closed the theater
Mm-hmm.
that I can't think of, and it's the theater I've worked in 4 or 5 times.
It's okay.
Because it ran for 6 months.
That's popular.
It was that popular. And Brian Murray played the lead in that, and I was the husband, and it was good.
You told me a story recently with Shockwaves, about John Carradine.
Oh yeah, John Carradine.
About his lines.
He'd have a script in the lap. He would rehearse with the script in his lap, and so then they're getting ready to shoot it, and even during doing takes of it
Right.
without shooting it. He'd always have the script in his lap. And I go, oh my God, he's going to read this. He's going to read this.
Yeah.
And then when it came time to shoot it, he just put it away, and bam,
Wow.
he was there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So he would have the script there. I guess he studied,
memory.
and
Yeah,
Memorize
he
it.
he was just there for 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
shooting his scenes.
Yeah.
And but then I've heard of other actors who do read it.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
A lot of older actors do. Didn't Clark Gable do that all the time? I think.
I don't know,
I
but
think he read a
Marlon
lot.
Brando,
Brando read.
I've heard that he started to read, have the script there to read, and some people need that. They need to see it, and he thought it made it more immediate if he was reading it.
Kind of makes sense because you're not really wasting any valuable seconds thinking. It's like right there.
Well, that's another story. I was in this play over. This is terrible.
Oh, you
But I
got to
have-
tell it then.
It's like I'm 48, and
I
I'm
can't
already
remember.
forgetting.
Yeah,
I can't remember nothing.
Yeah,
What the hell did I do last year? I don't remember. My friend Randy used to be like that. He was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And he would tell us a story when we were behind enemy lines. We were surrounded by the enemy.
Yeah.
And then,
You forget.
what the hell was I telling you? What happened? What happened? I was like, I gotta know. It's
This
like-
is going to make me look crazy.
This suspense is so fucking. It was like so suspenseful. We were surrounded by the enemy. And then,
What am I talking about?
what the hell was I talking about?
I
Let
do
me
that
get
too.
another beer.
I do-
And
I
it
do
was
that-
like, it
I
was
do
like,
that
oh.
too. I do it
He
too.
would do that. Get into this lavish story, and then out of nowhere.
Nothing worse than trying to grab that word out of
What
your
the hell
head.
was I talking
You can't do
about?
it.
And he
But
would
I
do
don't have everything on that.
It looks like you don't, because you would remember.
I was doing this play, and I was understudying one of the leads,
Right.
and I had just arrived at the theater. I mean, the price, maybe it was The Price by Arthur Miller.
Arthur Miller play The Price when you were understudying and the guy couldn't do a play, one of the shows. And
Yes,
and
yeah,
you didn't-
exactly.
You didn't know
That's it, The Price.
Right.
He didn't know the lines.
You just got there,
I
right?
just got there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd been there 2 days, and I had just been watching the play, and we had never had a rehearsal. And I came walking in on a matinee day, and this guy comes, the stage manager comes up to me and says, "You got to go on." I says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "What's his name? He does not want to do the matinees because we're working. We open tonight, and he wants to be fresh for that." I said, "I can't go on. I don't know the lines." He says, "You don't know the lines?" I says, "I just got here. How do I know it? We've never had a rehearsal."
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, God." I said, "I can read it. I'll read it. I'll go on reading it." And he says, "No, we can't do that. What if we put a thing in your ear?" And I said, "A thing in my ear?"
Radio.
Yeah, radio.
You know, and he says, "Yeah." He said, We'll put a thing in your ear, and the stage manager will give you the lines, and then you can act them."
Yeah.
And I went, oh, yeah, okay. And so we had this quick rehearsal before they put this thing in my ear, and if someone is saying stuff to you into your ear, your tendency is to go, listen, to listen to it. And the guy, the stage manager says, stop listening, just say it. And so I would go, okay, you're going to go this and do this and do that and do this, and you're going to go this and do that and do this. We're going to go home and see what's going on over there. We're going to go home and see what's going on over there. And it was just like ba-boom, ba-ba-boom, man. You don't know what you're saying, and you're just saying it out, and you're getting it out, and you're getting it out, and you're getting through 2.5 hours of this play in this leading role without knowing one line, and it's over. And the audience had a great applause, and that evening for the opening night, Arthur Miller came. It was the price.
Right.
And Arthur Miller came, and he said, "Who's the understudy?" And I said, "I am." He said, "Oh my God, people said you were just wonderful in this part." And I said, "They did." And I said, "Well, I'm glad."
Yeah.
He said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I had a thing in my ear and I was just saying the words." And he goes, "Oh my God." He said, the pilot died and you were able to land the plane without knowing how to fly. And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, congratulations. I got a lot of compliments from that."
Wow.
Wow, man, that's amazing.
That was amazing.
I mean, it must have been hard
What
to
if
just
somebody
get
would
that.
ask you, "Do you want coffee now?" "I don't want no coffee." You would have said that coffee?
It's like,
No.
it's like Anchorman.
Yeah.
Don't say anything off the teleprompter.
Teleprompter.
Yes, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
And fuck you, New York. What? Like an Anchorman. What was
Like an
it?
Anchorman, yeah. San Diego.
Fucking San Diego. That Will Ferrell resident. You're fired. You're gone. It was great.
The other film I wanted to ask you about, Jack,
Yeah.
is the Woody Allen movie, The Front.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he stars in the film. It's not one of the movies that he directed, but you were in that with him. What was it like working with Woody Allen?
Oh, we got a picture of that
Do
too.
it.
Was in the
Is
book.
that it?
No, it's in the computer. My son
Okay.
posted it. But
Did you have any interaction with him at all?
no, that was with Eddie Murphy.
No.
Oh, that was Trading Places.
Trading
You were in
Places.
Trading
Yes,
Places.
you were in that too. The Front is the movie where it's like about communism, I think, and a like blacklisting.
Oh, I was like a congressman or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I didn't have. I was listening to him, and he was the main actor,
Right.
and he did his job, and then it seems like the director wanted to get some more life into the part and into the scene, and Woody Allen said, "Let me just do it. Let me just do it."
Like improvise.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he just improvised this part, and he was brilliant.
Wow.
Just
Amazing.
brilliant.
Is it the part where he was making a speech about his situation?
I think
Something
so.
like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
in
okay.
front of us,
Yeah.
and I made the mistake of going over afterwards and saying, "Oh man, Woody, you are terrific." And he goes,
Or we just ran away. Not a social guy.
Yeah, not such a guy. He's like socially awkward. You know?
Wow. But I the scene you're talking about, I remember.
"Yeah."
But Eddie, what do you remember about what part do you play in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy?
It was at the stock market downtown, and I discovered that they were screwing us of something. And I'm the guy who discovers it, that watch out, we're going under or something.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like a guy who
like a prophet, like kind of like say what's going to happen.
We're going under.
Yes.
I kind of remember that, sort of.
I mean, let's see. It's just a picture of Eddie Murphy and I and Dan Aykroyd.
That was such a great movie.
It was definitely. But you know, you've been doing commercials for a while too, not just the.
Well, the thing is about being an actor
Mhm.
and a New York actor, it's a lot about stage,
Right.
but you can't make a living on stage.
Can't make
Yeah.
enough money, yeah,
You know, unless you're on Broadway all the time.
all the time, right?
And so you have to do regional theater to play leading roles, and then you have to do all kinds of stuff off Broadway, or you find a home like Circle Repertory Company. I was a member of that for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I got with Lincoln Center, and I did 6 or 7 plays there. And then I got with Ensemble Studio Theatre. So I always had a home, and that gave you a little comfort, but not much money.
Right.
So then I started to do really good on Broadway.
And that's where you make it.
And but what I was driving at is you must be in film to make a living.
Yeah.
And so you have to do commercials, and you do soaps, and you do.
It's amazing how many actors that are very well-known actors you see in commercial now.
Yeah.
Liev Schreiber's doing.
Yeah.
Who else?
Like Kevin Hart's in a bunch of commercial. That comedian, the little guy, he's like in all kind of commercial. Like he's
Oh yeah.
He's like in a bunch of
And then
commercials.
the handsome mustached guy. I've been around this road for a long, long time.
Oh, Sam.
Sam Elliott, right?
Yeah,
Sam
yeah,
Shepard.
with
Sam
the voice.
Yeah,
He got
yeah.
that voice. He does a lot
Sam
of the
Shepard.
car commercials.
No, not Sam Shepard. That's a playwright.
I'm thinking his
Yeah.
name is Sam something, right?
Yeah,
Not Sam.
he got that
He
voice.
has the blood.
Oh, Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Blue Bloods. Yeah.
Blue Blood. Yeah, Tom Selleck.
I want to tell you, I've been to this rodeo many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I would not mislead you.
That's right.
Oh yeah, he's another one that he's still around. He's been working forever. He had Magnum PI. He did.
Yeah.
Then
Well, everyone
he
knows
was
him from
on
that.
Friends for a while.
Everybody knows him from Magnum.
He was on Friends for a while.
Yeah.
He played like Monica's
Well,
boyfriend.
he's so handsome.
And now he's doing the Blue Blood, and that show was on forever. I don't know if it's still on.
Blue Bloods is still on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that show will be on forever.
But you know, you mentioned how you would do commercials to kind of keep yourself going, make extra money,
Well, I would keep my family going.
feed your family,
My
right?
friend
But-
Anthony the actor, he made that one commercial for
Mhm.
the New York Lottery with the little kid singing "Thank You for Being a Friend."
Yeah.
And he's in the commercial. Then he did the commercial with Derek Jeter. You got the edge.
Anthony's a good guy.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, you had an opportunity at one point with Reynolds rap, right?
Right. Yes.
You
there-
did a commercial or two with them, I think, and
I did a couple of Reynolds Wrap commercials until finally they wanted me to be the Reynolds Wrap guy.
the official spokesman.
And they said, "We'll." Oh, wait a minute. Well, yeah, the official spokesman.
Yeah.
But then there is another one too,
Okay.
and I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to get that identified with a product
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
try to be an actor.
Stereotype,
Yeah.
in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the
the one-
Dosecki man. The Dosecki man couldn't find a job after he did that commercial.
What was the one though? Was it Preparation H? Or something like that.
Saying that, no, you don't want to be
But
that
it
guy.
wasn't
You
Preparation.
don't want to be the preparation H guy.
Yeah.
Reynolds rap was okay, but Preparation ain't. No.
Yes, but I don't know if it was Preparation H, but that kind of thing. And they said, okay, this is what we're going to do. Oh, my husband used to come home like a gorilla.
Yeah.
you know,
Like the
like
back hurt.
yeah.
It looks like Ben Gay commercial or something.
No, but it was having to do with buttocks. And now the gorilla is turned into a lamb, and so they loved it. And I forget the product.
You can find those old commercials online sometimes. I look for that.
Yeah, I know. But then they said, okay, we're going to make you the guy.
Yeah.
The guy who comes home like a gorilla or whatever
Yeah.
it was, an ape.
Yeah.
And they turn it to that.
And then, you know, and I said, really? And they said, yeah, this is going to be good for you. This is going to be very good. Now, what we want to do is get some still shots, because we're going to put your picture up in all the drugstores around the country.
Wow.
Going like this.
Did you agree to this or no? Did you agree to this?
No. I said, crazy. No. He says, yes, and you're going to be holding this up, and you're going to go, and then go,
That's an outrage.
No. And that's what you'll be known for the rest of your life if you did that.
Completely.
So, let me ask you a question. You worked in a few of the New York City soap operas. Do you work like in General Hospital or All My Children? Any of those that you worked on?
Yeah, all of them.
How is working with that? Because they pretty much record almost every day.
Yeah, I mean, being on the soaps, there was one soap.
They still do them at Silver Cup, I think, like Long Island City, right? They still do
Yeah,
a lot.
probably.
Yeah.
But I was cast because the star of the soap, who had been on it for 20 or 30 years, took ill, and this was years ago.
Yeah.
And he was written into the script for a long period of time. And they wanted me to come in and play his role until he came out.
Like an understudy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doing it on screen,
Yeah.
because he was not available. But he was a big part of the
Very
storyline.
important character, yeah.
and he passed away in the hospital.
Oh,
Wow.
And so there I am doing this part that everyone knows is this other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kept doing it, I don't know, for a month or two, until finally they must have gotten letters saying, what happened to
So-and-so.
or they had read about his passing,
Yeah.
and so they killed me off.
That's almost like what they did. Remember, what was Bewitched? The two different Darrens.
The two
They went from
Darrens.
Darren Sargent
well,
to
that
Darren
was
Jones.
just an actor change.
Yeah, Steve.
But you know what's interesting with Bewitched? You mentioned that as a kid watching that show, I didn't know the difference for a long time because they almost looked the same.
Oh, really? I've
Dick,
never seen it.
Dick York and Dick Sargent.
Dick
The old sitcom, Bewitched, with
Bewitched.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Yeah.
Remember, she's a witch. She's got a little daughter, and the husband doesn't. It was a popular show.
Yeah.
But
I was too old.
you were busy at that point. But
They
as a
changed the
kid, I
acts.
didn't think they were two different actors. And then at some point in my teenage years, I'm like, wait a minute, that's a different
Yeah,
actor.
no, I kind of
Yeah.
knew what
Did you?
happened to the old one. And
Yeah.
It's crazy that they just change it like that. Like
Yeah.
anytime they do it like that, like they bring another actor
But
and they make him look just like the other
They
actor,
try to make
but
him
they
look
try,
the same. Yeah,
which
they
is
try.
hard
Well,
to
I'm
do.
sure they did that too. I mean, maybe
you probably
wore
resembled the
glasses.
guy a little bit in some
Yeah.
way.
Something.
Yeah.
But they know.
But soap operas are known for doing that kind of thing. I mean, there's that famous story with, what was it? It was Joan Crawford
Yeah.
played on a soap opera late in her career.
Right.
Okay, because she played like her daughter was on the soap opera, okay? And then something happened, she got sick and couldn't go on. So she's in the hospital and she turns on the show to see what was going to happen. She didn't know what they were going to, and her mother's playing a part.
The mother's playing.
Her own mother's
Oh, my
playing her
God.
part.
The
That gotta
daughter's.
be-
Yeah, and it was like awful. They show that in Mommy Dearest, the movie
Oh,
Mommy
God.
Dearest. Yeah, they
Wow.
show it. But it's a famous thing.
Well, the soaps are funny because
Yeah.
you when you're cast in for 2 or 3 days, you don't know what the
What's
story
gonna happen.
is,
Yeah.
and all you got to do is try to keep those lines in your mind,
That's it.
and or a thing in your ear.
That helps. So with that, let me ask you, any more questions for this?
No, I'm good. This is perfect, man. Pretty good interview. I mean, I think we learned a lot.
Jack Davidson, the icon, right here.
Yeah, I can thank you
Yes.
for all the stories and for the time you spend with RockerMike and Rob Presents. The people are there going to love this when I put it up, and I'm going to put a lot of that. I'll probably put a link to your website and other stuff like that.
We'll put a link to that
video,
that Downey commercial.
Yeah, the commercial there.
That Downey.
Downey.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll put some links to that.
Are
But
you going to edit this?
A little
oh
bit.
yeah, I'll
Because
definitely
I
edit
look
it.
like I'm.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
I have dementia.
For the voice, I definitely got to edit a little bit. But with that, people, thank you for watching us. Enjoy the show. And we're still looking for a few sponsors. If anybody's out there want to sponsor, you can call me or Mike on Getting Lumped Up, the website. And they'll got a link to our emails and everything. And if you got any questions,
You can find me on Facebook under RockerMike, or find him on Instagram under
Getting Lumped
Getting
Up.
Lumped Up.
Getting
And you
Lumped
can,
Up.
yeah, and then on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, anything Getting Lumped Up, you can find me on, and also on the YouTube channel, it's Getting Lumped Up with Rob Rossi. And this is another episode of RockerMike and Rob Presents, the great
Jack
David.
Davidson. Jack Davidson.
I mean, Jack Davidson.
David Jackson.
David Jackson.
David Jack. Oh, Jimmy.
And what do we always say at the end of every show?
Don't get drunk.
Get lumped up.
See you next week, people.
Take care, people.